And that's either due to not doing the proper amount of planning, drawing too much in income, or a market drop, really. But when someone says, "Hey, Teddy, I'm scared about running out of money," what would your next question be?
Tell me more about that. What prompts you to be scared of running out of money?
Yeah. So going to the root.
Retirement isn't the end of the journey. It's where your next chapter begins. Welcome to the Big Money Retirement Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Big Money Retirement Podcast. My name is Johnathan Burgess. I'm the owner and chief investment officer of Big Money Retirement, and I'm joined by Teddy Heiser. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Teddy's the lead advisor here in our Greenville office, and gives Luke a run for his money every single week. Both of these guys are, great people as far as bringing on new clients, and I love competition. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Competition breeds excellence.
It does. But a part of what we get to do every day is talk to retirees about their problems, And for some people, it's identifying the problems they don't even know they have. And so on episode 40, what we're going to talk about today is the 5 things keeping you from a confident retirement. And we've had the pleasure, Teddy and I, of onboarding over 600 clients between the two of us, or households. So, sat in a lot of meetings, a lot of time spent in front of people with gray hair with lots of money. Okay. So if you're talking to 2 guys that can really help you walk through this, you could not have picked 2 better gentlemen than to talk about this. Now, a time when we're not very good is when we scramble on the golf course.
Oh, speak for yourself.
Yeah. Teddy's my scramble partner. I hit it in the woods. He hits it on the green. So we only play on Saturdays and Sundays, though, for the record. Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, we don't play on weekdays.
No.
Not weekday golfers.
Strictly forbidden.
We're solely weekend warriors. Is that what we call ourselves?
Yeah, if the market's closed, it's okay to go to the golf course.
Yeah, we did play on Juneteenth.
Yeah, the market was closed.
Yeah, the market was closed. So, what are the things that we hear about more often than not? And it is the 5 biggest fears of retirees. Number 1 is income planning, the fear of running out of money either due to not properly planning or a healthcare event, which is also another fear. So number 2 fear is some sort of healthcare event that it's an expensive individual procedure or a prolonged period of them not being able to take care of themselves. That would be called long-term care. Number 3, is overpaying in taxes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, people feel, you can feel all the confidence in the world around your returns, but I recently at one of the Wine and Wisdoms, we had those are client events. But I talked about a client who made $82,000 last year in one of the most popular mutual funds that was out there, and they owed $15,000 to $18,000 in taxes, even if they didn't sell the mutual fund.
Yeah, the drag from within the mutual fund.
Yep. And that's if you own it in an after-tax brokerage account. So that's a very real fear because that is sold by one of the number 1, Main Street investment firms that are out there. The next fear is leaving a mess for your family. So, not doing proper estate planning or making a misstep in how you leave your legacy behind. And then the last one is going to be market risk. Yep. So fear that a large market drop may cause you to make the investment account hit 0.
Yeah, volatility in general.
Yeah, and I think most people too, they don't want to change their standard of living due to a market crash.
No, and when you have the right plan put in place, you don't need to.
Yeah, and we always say we're the best in the world at creating confidence, and the only way you are the best in the world at creating confidence, you have to know the 5 biggest things that are keeping retirees from the proper amount of confidence in retirement. And really the way that I view it too, when we have annual reviews and semi-annual reviews with clients, it's just another opportunity to build that confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Go over performance, go over any updates within their lifestyle, anything that they're doing new that they want to do new, and just making sure that we're touching base and servicing the clients as best as we can.
Yeah. So let's sit on each, and then what are some of the things that you can do to get around each of these things that are keeping you from having confidence in retirement. So the first thing is the fear of running out of money. I know at these events that we run, we'll commonly ask, like, what's everyone's biggest fear in retirement? And they'll say running out of money. And that's either due to not doing the proper amount of planning, drawing too much in income, or a market drop, really. But when someone says, hey, Teddy, I'm scared about running out of money, what would your next question be?
Tell me more about that. What prompts you to be scared of running out of money?
Yeah. So going to the root of whatever that is.
Yeah. How does that stem? Where does that impulse in your mind come from?
Where does that come from for most people, from what you find?
Past experiences. Seeing it in past experience, potentially friends, family, whatever it may be, but seeing it happen before.
Yeah. Either somebody has to totally change their standard of living in retirement. Maybe you saw somebody go back and start working again in retirement. So maybe somebody made a bad investment.
Yeah, potentially. And having to essentially change who you are. And that's not what retirement is about.
Yeah. Now, I've been lucky enough only to know one person who really made a massive mistake, and I watched it happen. But there was someone who was referred to me, and in between her being referred to me and coming in for a first meeting, she joined a Facebook group investment club and joined a penny stock investing group. And she put 100% of her IRA. She had multiple accounts, but she put 100% of her IRA into an individual penny stock position, and it went to zero.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know what to say.
No, what can you say to that?
Yeah. I literally watched her from what she had input on that intake form. She had 25% less money in the course of a week.
Yeah. And it can change. It can change like that.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of people in this area, either they have heard about something like Carolina Investors or one of these schemes out there where, people have lost money. That keeps people from honestly putting together a good retirement plan, because they may keep 100% of their assets in their 401k or something like that. So they could have heard through the grapevine of a company that swindled some people or something like that, which is...
Yeah.
It stinks, because it's not only... When you have crooks out there like that, they not only ruin people's retirement plans, but the ripple effect of that and the distrust in the industry is... I wouldn't want to have to answer for that.
No. And it's like you said...
My grandfather would have said, "You going to hell, son."
If there's not a place lower than that.
He was a pastor and missionary to the age of 95. Okay. It's so funny. I just got his recordings back today. Did you know about this project that I was doing?
No.
So I took 100 of his old sermons from back in the 80s and 90s, and I got them transcribed and made into video files. So I have I don't know, 2,000-page transcript of all the words he said over the course of 20 years.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I went back and I was listening to one, I don't know, maybe 2 mornings ago. And it's just, you can, sometimes people hear me talking Southern, but my grandfather, who was like, "Let me tell you about a man that he was a pastor, and he said the worst thing that happened was when he lost the joy of the Lord." And I'm like, this is honestly enjoyable. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
To listen to some of those old, but it's so funny. I think about a lot of my roots, going back to that. And he was Pentecostal, which, if you're not familiar with that part of Christianity, which he opened he started a non-denominational church. So we were very much a Bible church growing up, which is, very, very good. But they are very outspoken in their faith, and which is how you should be, in my opinion. But he would have said the people who swindled those people, Carolina investors, you going to hell, son. That would have been said.
Yeah, well,
yeah, just tell it like it is.
Well, it's how, we tell people all the time, are we in this industry? Yes. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're for the industry. We're for our clients.
Yeah.
Like, we get the biggest gratitude when people in our first meetings, we say, what are you looking to accomplish? What are your goals? And they go hit those goals, and they send pictures and everything while they're hitting those goals. Those are like some of the coolest moments that you could ever experience.
Yeah, I had a review. It was either Monday or Friday last week, and a lady lost her husband. She came in, and we did her income plan, made sure that the portion that, there are very few products out there that you can say the G word, but guarantee. But we did like a guaranteed income layer for her because her husband left enough money behind for her where she could be aggressive with the rest of the money in the market. The income portion, you were able to do a guaranteed lifetime income stream. Interest rates were really high when she became a client, so it was actually pretty attractive. The guaranteed income thing, the guaranteed income solutions that were out there. And so, we did that side, and then the rest of the money we put in the market. Well, she comes into the review, and I was like, Jody, we made you $175,000 in the last 12 months. And she just started crying. And she was like, look, I knew and I don't know how many clients tell you this, but that they haven't looked at their account balances since they became a client. Do you get that a fair amount?
A lot more often than you'd expect.
Yeah, I think that's my response too. A lot more often than you would expect. And she didn't know that we had made her $175,000. She started crying, and she was like, I was literally in Hawaii with my family, just like enjoying myself, like not even worried about my balances, because I knew that I had a plan, not a product or a portfolio. Like, right. I had everything talking to each other. So, I mean, I'm going to talk about some of the fears, but ideally what you're doing is you're getting rid of all of these fears that you have and having an integrated plan.
Yeah. 100%. Everything that works together hand in hand, making sure that, like you were just talking about, in the case of a market dip, making sure that there's other supplemental income factors that can come in and take care of that to where you don't have to worry.
Yeah. Okay. Second thing around running out of money would be the investment plan, not having a proper structure for a retiree. So, what are some common mistakes and look, this is what I will tell you, that Steve Jobs, I think, said this. He said, the heart will give you the solution, the mind cannot often comprehend. I'm going to look up the exact quote because that's going to annoy me. But if you have a feeling that you're missing something with your retirement plan, your conscience is usually pretty good at guiding you.
Yeah.
Like I remember my dad always told me, this was the number one thing that he would always tell me. He's like, son, follow your conscience. Like, when something's right and when something's wrong. So
that intuition, the old cliche saying, you feel it in your gut.
Yeah. And
it's true.
Yeah. I think if people come to us, they come to us for a reason. Either they're listening to this right now because they know they need to be, brushing up on some of these things. They're close to retirement. Maybe you're 10 years from retirement. When's the best time to plan for retirement or create a retirement income plan?
It's a trick question. It's never too early. And to complement that, it's also never too late.
Yeah.
You can always get confidence and clarity at any point in time.
It's have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. I thought it was deeper than that, honestly, but Jobs said it. I'm not wearing a turtleneck, but he said it. That guy made some pretty good decisions.
Yeah, he did okay.
He did fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Give him like a, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10?
Yeah, he might even be generous. 6.7 out of 10.
Yeah. So generally you have that intuition. So let's go to some examples. What are some ways that retirees may have that gut feeling, but let's actually give some real world examples of people who commonly make this mistake. How are they set up? What are they doing where they could actually run out of money based on portfolio composition?
I mean, two easy ones right off the bat. The risk level is too high.
Yep.
If the market were to drop, portfolio is going to drop with it. How long is it going to take for it to recover? Are you pulling money out during that recovery period? That's the easiest thing. And then second, overexposure in one, whether it's one individual equity, whether it's one section of the market itself. And then how do you combat those things? How do you diversify the portfolio from there?
Yeah. Another one is target date funds. 2022, we saw those take a massive hit. And the real reason why you would end up running out of money is your withdrawal rate's too high on a not properly structured portfolio. Like those two things in tandem with the right black swan really can make you go broke.
Yeah.
Like let's say your retiree has $1 million and I have so many examples I could give you. I'm going to give you two right now just for clarity. One was a postal worker. She saved really well, never made a ton of money, but retired with $1 million. Okay. Retired with $1 million, and she had 100% of her money in the C fund. And she's drawn out $100,000 a year. Think about that. So you're taking out 10% of your portfolio, 50% market drop. You went from taking out 10% of your portfolio to 20% of your portfolio. And she thought she was fine because she had 10%, or sorry, it wasn't 100% C fund. It was 90-10, 90% C, 10% S, which is the stable value fund. In the TSP, you actually can't coordinate where you take withdrawals from. It's just pro rata across the whole shebang. So she's literally taking 90% C, which is the common stock fund. That's like the S&P 500, 10% S fund. And so, downturn in the market, she's taking 20% of her portfolio.
Yeah.
How long does it take the S&P 500 to recover? 5 years. Well, you're taking out 20% of your portfolio. 20% times 5 is
100.
Yeah, 100%. So, that is one. And she was under I don't want to say under the influence. What would you call that? Under the
Direction,
presumption,
under the assumption.
Under the assumption. There we go. Thanks, Daddy.
You're welcome.
That's why I keep you around.
Yeah. I'm very, very good at English.
Unlike Luke. We don't have our nice New Zealand.
Yeah, no.
Luke's a little bit better looking than you. No offense.
I'm not going to argue with
He's
that.
better looking than me, too.
His voice sounds better, too.
Yeah. We love you, Luke. But we... but
by golly, you get him on an inner tube, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no. A biscuit.
Yeah, biscuit.
He calls it a biscuit. But no, the issue is, she was under the assumption that the C fund, especially from the years of 2019 to 2024 when she retired, she was like, oh, I saw COVID, I'm good. COVID was just boom right back up. But she hasn't experienced an 08 with the balance that she has now, especially pulling money out. So that's one. You said another one, which was overexposure to a singular sector. So I have one client. He worked for GE forever, saved really, really well, millions of dollars in a GE 401k, along with millions of dollars in real estate and millions of dollars in an investment portfolio with us. Well, last year he took a portion of that money, moved it over to us, but he kept $2 million in GE and a semiconductor ETF. Well, now that's $3.1 million. So literally this past week, I was talking to him and I was like, Richard, we should probably take at least I know you know GE, I know you know the business model, but you should take, because you're 63 now, you should take $1 million of that and take $500,000, make it totally safe. You know, cannot lose a penny. The other $500,000, let's put it in the market, diversify it. Like, make sure that, like, look, if you have, you know, $5 million making 8 or 9% a year, are you happy with that? He's like, yeah, that's, 450 grand a year. I was like, then why are we going for 30? Like, if it's not gonna, how much they did a study, and the amount of dopamine that's released in a market when, let's call that 1x, positive 1x in your dopamine rush.
Okay.
So if you're at a 0, it's going to take you to 100% dopamine rush. A negative loss in the stock market is a -2. So negative 200% on a loss.
Yeah.
So the average win is a 1x and the average loss is a -2x. So if you lose 20%, mentally it's like you lost 40%. If you lose 40%, mentally it's like you lost 80. And if you make 10, it's like you made 10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's behavioral finance.
Yeah.
They teach you this stuff when you become a financial advisor. Supposedly, some of it. No, I actually, that was a study whenever I was sitting for one of the CE courses. But so that's one, is running out of money. That's a real fear, and you need a comprehensive plan to cover that. Spending too much money paying Uncle Sam. That is definitely something that keeps someone from a confident retirement. And I would say that's totally dependent upon your wealth management experience. Like, what experience have you had, either DIY, doing it with an advisor, or doing it with the proper firm? There's 3 different levels. DIY can be somebody who's going in and trading, an active trader. They can make 100 grand on a stock trade. They sell it. They don't realize that when they sell it in 12 months, you're paying ordinary income taxes. Let's say they're a doctor. Bang, slam, 37% in taxes and state taxes. So, and let's say they kept that in their portfolio. Well, now on a $100,000 gain, they could have generated a $40,000 tax bill.
Yeah.
That's a DIY person. Okay, that can happen. Second thing is, if you've worked with a firm and they're buying mutual funds in a brokerage account. I talked about the one where the client had $500,000, grew by 80,000, but they owed 15 to 18,000 depending on their tax bracket, even if they didn't sell the fund. And then the scary surprise, and I know you had this week before last, was a client who had saved really well in their 401k, and you were projecting what their RMDs were going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially, they had, it was up to $7 million pre-tax, 10 years out from the first RMD. And so from a conservative average, if that $7 million averaged 7% over the next 10 years, well, that 7 turns to 14. 14 million, and then roughly 4% of that would be their first RMD. What you're required to take out by Uncle
would be
Sam,
like 600 grand.
And pay tax on it.
So that's like 300 grand in taxes.
It's not friendly.
Per year.
Not friendly.
And I mean, look, even if you've saved like $1 million, like it's still, a million's 2 million. You got to take out 4%. That's 80 grand. Even if you didn't need it, if you had a pension or something like that.
Because with that too, it adds a bunch of layered expenses. Now new expenses that you're going to be generating. You're now in the top Medicare bracket.
Which goes to healthcare planning. So that's a good segue.
Which goes to healthcare planning, yeah. So there's, the proper structured tax plan, not just plan as a whole, but the tax plan specifically is way more important than people think.
Yeah. And so, that's where we deal with Medicare professionals to help people bridge that gap. And then they communicate back to us what those Medicare premiums are going to be. And then you can plan for that in the income plan. Or there may be healthcare plans out there that you didn't know about. I know one that we commonly will refer clients to is like different types of major medical plans where they can still get qualifying health coverage. They pay for dental visits out of pocket, but honestly, they're not that much. Like, there are ways to get around if you're retiring from 60 to 65. You know, that's probably one of the ones that we hit the most, where somebody's going to take early retirement. They're not yet on Medicare, and they don't want to get slammed in healthcare expenses. So, you know, doing the proper healthcare plan is important. That also encompasses long-term care planning. Mm-hmm. So making sure that you're either self-insured. I mean, the average healthcare inflation rate right now is 5.4%. So if you look at that, every 15 years, $1 spent on healthcare costs today in 15 years will need to be $2.
Yep.
So if you're 70 and let's say you would be at a qualifying healthcare event or need long-term care at 85, if it's $100,000 a year, it's going to be $200,000 a year. So that's the first thing. So having the proper healthcare plan, long-term care plan is important. And then that leads to the last thing, which is healthcare power of attorneys, which then flows into
estate planning.
Estate planning. And so when this launches, I'm so excited about this. And if you are a client, listen up right now. We will edit this part of the video out if for some reason, or the podcast out if this is not in fact a truth. But we have found an estate planning attorney after 3 months of looking. We have finally identified the correct legal counsel. I'm just picky about lawyers.
You have to be.
Well, no. So Samantha and I, whenever we first got into the business in Greenville, this is a hilarious story. Attorney comes by our office, polished guy. He's like, hey, just wanted to welcome you guys to the area. If y'all have clients who need help with estate planning, let me know. I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to come by your office. Like, let's do it. For sure. We need somebody. So we go walk into this guy's office. I'm not kidding. It looked like, have you ever heard of, what's the shredder company? Like the paper shredder company? They do the shred-a-thons where people can shred papers. But there's different companies.
No idea.
Yeah, but anyway, there are companies that do that.
Shred-a-thon?
Yeah, you know, in some offices they have those like boxes. We have a shredder here.
Yeah.
But like at some companies they just have like that gray kind of box and you just toss the documents in and then a company comes and picks it up once a month. Did you know that?
No, is that like Kinko's?
No, they'll just come. It's a company. They have like it's like a garbage truck, but it's a
didn't know that
shredding
was a
truck.
thing.
Yeah, it is the thing. Anyway. This guy alone could have kept a company in business. I walked into his office, very nice, like sign. I'm like, oh, this guy's legit, you know? I walked in to, it was Mount Vesuvius of paperwork. His assistant peeked around the corner of a pile. I'm really not joking right now. Like, she like, hey, how you doing? Like, around a pile of paperwork.
I'm over here.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. And then the attorney said, I'll be there in a minute. The attorney walks out. Hardwood. I heard the hardwood creaking, so I peeked my head around the corner, and I will never forget seeing his bare feet just walking down the hall, and he was wearing a suit and he had no socks on and no shoes on, just barefoot.
Just being one with the office.
One with the office and the paperwork. I mean, it was
just grounded.
It was nuts. I was like, well, from that day forward, that began our estate planning journey to finding, you know, the attorney that we refer here in the upstate now. And it's been great. I mean, how we've referred the attorney up here, super, very, very professional attorney. But the thing that just got me is it's so hard to find a really good attorney that's going to integrate without killing our clients on pricing. And so anyway, we finally identified the right attorney, right fee structure, all that stuff. So now we have in-house counsel for clients, not only where their investment plan and their income plan is talking to their tax plan, because we have Chris. Chris on staff does the tax planning. He's an enrolled agent with the IRS. Now we've added McLeod, where he is the estate planning attorney for the firm, and we have inside counsel for all three.
Yeah. So now we need to add a number 5 to the process paper.
Who's the number 5?
Estate planning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So estate planning is one of the other things that keep people from having the confidence that they deserve in retirement. And so they don't know how their assets are going to be dispersed, who's going to be the executor. I mean, some people have a will, but it hasn't been updated in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, and statutes could change by then as well.
Yeah, but if I can go, in one office, be sitting with my financial advisor, my tax advisor, and my estate planning attorney, not only do we know how the investments are going to work, we know what the tax bill is going to be, and we know exactly how they're going to pass to the heirs. And everything is talking together. And when we say we're the best in the world at creating confidence, we have taken real steps towards being that firm that creates that type of confidence. And the other thing is it's got to be monitored. We have to continue to update people as they make progress. And look, for us, every review meeting is really a strategy meeting. We're not looking in the rear view. I mean, we're looking in the rear view to say, hey, this is what we made you last year. But we are looking forward and saying, what are the potential roadblocks that we're going to run into? Are we checking all the boxes still? What's changed in the last year? Do we need to update your estate plan? Do we need to update your tax plan? Do we need to update your investment plan? Do you need to take more money out every year? I mean, having that counsel around you, and I'm going to wrap on this, but that feeling that you have in your gut, like, man, I really feel like I need to work on this. It comes from, and maybe you've never heard of being able to have that type of counsel for a reasonable fee. Maybe you've never heard about that. This is the first time you're hearing about that, but it's your gut that prompts you to know that something like that will appear. And I said it on the morning meeting today. When the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. Mm-hmm. And so, I think for a lot of our clients now being, we talked about tier 1 DIY, we talked about tier 2 is maybe the investment management firm that has alligator arms around retirement planning. For us, it was really all about creating the total comprehensive team, not one individual, but multiple pieces and layers of expertise that layer on top of each other. And then that's how, when you get to the end result, you can get rid of, am I confident enough to retire? No, bang, you're just like, tell the big man that you work with right now is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, you already know.
Yeah.
How about that? Making it a one-stop shop.
Yeah. I hope the Carolina investors repent. That's how we're going to end today's episode. Next episode, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring one of the tapes of my grandfather. I'm going to try to identify the closest one to investing, and I'm going to bring it on the pod.
Carolina investors.
Carolina investors. You know, it was actually called Carolina Gold. Yeah. Everybody always just says Carolina investors. But anyway, it's funny we get to talk about some of that stuff now. I do not stray away from the hot topics. I think you got to talk about it. If it's happened, if you ignore it, like it's just...
Well, yeah, because people ask the question.
Yeah.
It comes up.
Yeah. And so you've got to make sure you do your due diligence on whatever firm you're looking into. I'm going to reiterate that. I iterate that with folks all the time. So, all right, that was episode 40. Teddy, thank you, sir.
Appreciate
We're not playing golf this weekend, but next weekend.
In Cabo.
We're taking the whole team to Cabo. So that's cool. Who do you think has the best time in Cabo?
I plead the fifth.
We'll let you know who had the best time in Cabo. All right. We'll see you on the next episode.